Browns had to move practice indoors today. A storm hit right as we were about to go out and talk to Kevin Stefanski, so they practice indoors, send everybody home, so no practice in front of the fans as expected. But we're going to start with what fans will see on Saturday, Mary Kay, when the Browns take on the Packers. They will not see Deshaun Watson. They will see Jameis Winston start, but he'll also have some other Browns starters with him.
That's right. The starters, except for Deshaun Watson, are going to play about 10 plays in this game. Now, it's unfortunate that Deshaun won't be able to play in this game because I think he needs the work, but they're going to wait a little bit. I bet you he won't play until that Seattle game in the third preseason game. But he had a couple of rough practices the last few days, and he really needs to get out there and hone everything before he has to face those Cowboys.
Yeah, and Ashley, will like Mary Kay said, we'll see those starters for about 10 plays. We know Myles Garrett isn't going to play. Kevin Stefanski wouldn't go through the entire list of guys who are sitting out, but at least we will get to see some of the main characters for a little bit on Saturday night.
Yeah, it sounds like I've explained this to people on Twitter already, right? We're probably not going to get that full list of guys who are going to play, but obviously we won't see any of the guys who are injured, or Myles' case has been ramping his way up, obviously. But I do think I agree with Mary Kay that I would have liked to see Deshaun Watson in this, and maybe it's because of the way practice has gone for the offense, especially towards the end the last 2 days, but really it just felt kind of off in the final team periods the last 2 days. No real big plays in those when guys are going at their hardest. I thought the defense got the best of this offense both days. Both days a handful of would-be sacks during those periods if they were allowed to hit the quarterback in a game situation. So yeah, 100%. I'm curious to see what this looks like going forward, but of course we have the joint practices coming up next week, so probably nobody will play in that second preseason game.
Yeah, the circle that game in Seattle. Let's put it that way, Mary Kay. Circle that game. I know you're excited to be going to that football game. Now, let's address something else, the elephant in the room kind of all day throughout the day, and that was the Brandon Aiyuk watch, as there are deals in place. It was reported on Monday night, deals in place with the Browns and the Patriots. Now the Steelers are back in the mix. Aiyuk needs to work out a contract if he's going to get traded. So Mary Kay, this is very much up in the air, and of course this involves one of the Browns' most important pass catchers.
Yes, it's definitely a fluid situation, and again, there are really three teams involved right now. That is the Browns, the Patriots, the Steelers have gotten back into the mix, and Brandon Aiyuk seems to really want to prefer to play for the Steelers. So instead of the Browns acquiring him in a trade, they could end up having to play him twice a year. But yes, Amari Cooper has been talked about in these trade rumors, these trade reports. I've been reporting that the 49ers want Amari Cooper. Out of all the deals that they have made, they like this one the best with the Cleveland Browns because it involves them getting Amari Cooper. Who wouldn't want Amari Cooper? 5-time Pro Bowler. If you have Brandon Aiyuk out of your lineup, you plug Amari Cooper in there, and you head back to the Super Bowl because he's so good. So we'll have to see how this goes. Again, he would have to approve any contract terms with any team, and it's up to him who he wants to go to.
Yeah, because Ashley, obviously no team is going to want to make this deal if they're not going to be able to have Brandon Aiyuk for the next 4 or 5 years. And of course, he'll want that top of market contract. So this is still a very complicated situation that it started to speed up, but we're still also sort of playing the waiting game.
Yeah, it feels like from everything given his current contract, this is as close as a player can get to having a no-trade clause without having one. Because of that, no one's going to make a big deal for him, give up either a bunch of draft capital or, in the Browns' case, another really good player in Amari Cooper, if that future with him at 26 years old and hopefully just entering his prime is not locked up. But very interesting, the fact that there are 2 AFC North teams in this. If he winds up here, definitely going to make that Hard Knocks AFC North in the back half of the season even more interesting than it already is.
Yeah, that is true. Now on the practice field, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah was back. We did see Quentin Jefferson leave the practice field today. Of course, he's been a key player. But Mary Kay, getting JOK back, again, probably another guy we won't see on Saturday. He wasn't doing team drills today, but getting him back on the practice field is important.
Yeah, that was one bit of good news today to see him back out there. And then, of course, Zadarius Smith. We saw him grab the left knee yesterday. He had further tests this morning. And Zadarius, it's still just the contusion in the knee. And with some rest, he should be able to get back out there fairly soon. He's not going to play in this game on Saturday night, but it's not like he's going to miss a month or anything like that. He should be back with a good amount of rest.
And for fear of this aging poorly, it didn't look like anything serious with Quentin Jefferson. He seemed to walk off the field under his own power. He was just down for a little bit. So hopefully nothing big there, because he's he's obviously an important part of this defensive line. And Ashley, we actually got to hear from him today.
Yeah, he talked a lot about, and Dan, you wrote about this, all the knowledge he brings from these past really good teams he's been on. We got a chance to hear from defensive line coach Jacques Césaire today. Those two were actually together in Buffalo when Jacques was the assistant D-line coach and Quentin was there in 2020. And he talked about he's so not been surprised the way his career has continued over these last 4 or so years that they've been apart because of all of the power he has as an interior rusher. So we've gotten to see that a little bit in these practices, and really excited to get a chance to see him in an actual game setting whenever that time comes.
Okay, we'll have full coverage of everything that happens today. Of course, Mary Kay has been all over this Brandon Aiyuk story, updates posting all the time at cleveland.com/Browns.